Hi, my name is Reed Silver. The name of the show is Fed Pride. Reason it's called Fed Pride is because I'm a federal worker and proud of it. This show is actually live to tape, in which case for me it's live. If I fall off the chair, you see me fall off the chair, even though today for me it's Friday, October 19th. For you it's probably Sunday the 21st or Tuesday, the following Tuesday, or if this is rerun, weeks and weeks into the future, or you're looking at somebody living in the past. Consequently, the fresh news that I speak about today is probably overcome by events or completely irrelevant, as the case may be. That's just part of my show. That's part of the term of it. I'm going to do the traditional spinning of the earth, and there it is. And today, there's just so much going on in the entire world domestically. The S-chip program did not defeat a veto. That was a situation where we have a very, very popular S-chip program, which expands federal insurance to our federally supported insurance at the state level. Actually, it's a state program that's the states are given federal grants for that basically provides insurance to children to a certain level above the poverty level. I'm not sure exactly what that is. And the Democrats wanted to expand that and basically bring it to twice the poverty level. In New York, that would be a tremendous amount, but it takes a tremendous amount to live there. So the Bush administration vetoed it, one of the few vetoes in its entire history, and vetoed it in order to control spending or to show that they're controlling spending. But in fact, his argument is that it's federalized or governmental health care, and that it might interfere with the insurance companies' support because some lower middle class families may abandon overpriced, expensive health insurance for a government-supported health insurance. That would be a terrible crime to the insurance companies. Health insurance, I really don't have a lot of respect for the private health insurance industry. They had a chance back in the 90s to receive a guaranteed market of every person, man, woman, and child in the United States, delivered to private health care as long as the private health basically were forbidden to cherry pick the healthy in order to not insure the unhealthy and pull a profit out of the difference. And the industry fought that tooth and nail. The other thing they had to do was to provide comparable packages of health insurance so that people knew exactly what they were getting. Basically, they were going to supply the same deal that they're supplied to the federal worker. Federal workers are insured by private companies, but that insurance is basically comparable and set by a board which says you have to provide this, 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 and this service. What can you provide it for? And that's what you're going to, we're going to offer the federal employee. Congress has it, the President, all the feds. Similar plans are in effect for state and local governments, although some of them are more generous. The feds pay basically 40%. And the basis of it is that while it is subsidized, it is comparable and there's no cherry picking allowed. The insurance industry, especially the smaller companies, the companies that basically deal in Medicare supplemental insurance and so on and so forth, decided they still needed basically to cheat their customers to basically provide insurance for items that are already insured by Medicare, to refuse to insure people that may be sick, to basically cherry pick only the healthy and only the people that can afford it, and to refuse insurance to the rest in order to maximize profits. And basically, they supply no service to people at all. And I know I'm being tough on the insurance industry. It's up to private insurance to show me and the rest of the public that they actually provide any services at all. And basically, we come to Europe and to the rest of the industrialized world. I'm not pushing their system. I've seen how it works and how it doesn't work because I have lived in Europe. But basically, their industries are at a competitive advantage, even though their labor rates are higher, even though the euro has gone through the roof. Their industry has a competitive advantage to our industry. Our exports are collapsing. Our trade deficit is growing. And one of the main reasons is because we force private insurance on employers, and we force employers to insure their people, while that is part of the tax base and part of taxes, basically, for all the other industrialized countries of the world. So the industrialized countries of the world, basically your insurance premium is part of your taxes. And while that may not be a good thing, as I've talked about the insurance system in Germany, where I had lived for a while, and the town that I lived in had a good hospital and an absolutely terrible hospital. If the ambulance took you to the bad hospital, you probably would get butchered. If it took you to the good hospital, you got wonderful service, the best doctors in the state of Hesse, which is in this kind of west central part of Germany. So socialized insurance doesn't work. The poor people did get some service, but in some cases there's no, of course, there's no suits for malpractice insurance or whatever, and consequently some of those bad hospitals really butchered people. I knew one woman who got completely butchered, botched operation, ended up in very, very bad shape, although she did live, because of the insurance system there. But how does that compare to our insurance system? Our insurance system is making our economy non-competitive. It's giving an advantage to economies that are much smaller and weaker than ours over ours, and we really ought to do something about it. And one step to start is to actually create, and these are still private insurance through the states, subsidized insurance for all children, and spread those subsidies to everybody who needs them so that we can have national insurance. And then we're already shelling out $800 billion of federal money to support the healthcare industry. Plus, the healthcare industry gets another, well, it's not 800, I think it's $600 billion. Plus, the private insurance system gets another $500 billion. Certainly, they can provide comparable insurance packages to everybody in the United States, and they could be required, and I say, and I'm going to say it right now, required to provide insurance to everybody in a risk pool, because that's what insurance is supposed to be about, that a risk pool of the people of the United States, just the way all the other industrialized countries provide insurance, even though it's not private insurance, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, to all the people in their nation. It is the only way for the private insurance industry to survive. Sooner or later, cherry picking, because we have a system now, we have a situation now where with a few medical tests and a few DNA tests, we can actually predict the lifetime value of all of the health care of an individual person, in which case we are a risk group of one. And if insurance companies are able to exploit that, basically, if I have one member of my family that has $1 million and another member of my family that has 100,000, that has a very, very healthy genetic profile, we would not share that risk at all. We'd be uninsurable. And basically, just about everybody in the United States has one member of the family who is going to be expensive to insure. So if we don't have a risk pool, and if we don't require the insurance industry to have a risk pool, the American people are going to reject the idea of private insurance, which is supposed to be sharing risk. That's what it was developed for. Insurance was developed by Benjamin Franklin. It was fire insurance. It wasn't necessarily health insurance. To share risk. That's the whole idea of it. And if we're not going to share risk, if we have the technology to not share risk, if we have the technology for insurance companies to come in there and to reject everybody for a lifetime, to actually test people, predict their lifetime health insurance, and to share that risk with nobody but themselves, and to say, you either pay full fare for your entire health insurance, don't share risk with anybody, or you're going to be declared uninsurable and you will die on the street all alone without any health insurance, without any help. The American people are going to dump private insurance. It adds nothing to anybody. Doesn't provide anything but a bureaucracy to pay for health care. It doesn't add one bit of value, and consequently, because it adds no value, its entire existence is dependent on a few laws and a lot of politics. And that's basically it. The main law that supports insurance, private health insurance, called ERISA, and even though it's ERISA is the retirement system, it is the law that allows companies to deduct health insurance, and that's basically why we have health insurance, that and the era when unions were strong. So I know I'm going on and on about this, and I will in the future. This becomes a big issue in the election next year. I'm going to weigh in. I am not for single payer, but I'm telling you, if the insurance companies do not accept some kind of FEHB, Federal Employee Health Benefit type of system, they will be run out of business, and I will support it because their entire existence is dependent on law and politics. There is nothing inherent in having private companies insure people and for companies to be able to deduct that insurance when it's unnecessary. And the only, either they accept some kind of comparability and they accept the removal of their right to cherry pick, or there will be a single payer system. I can guarantee it. Because the business is sick and tired of independent health insurance. They are sick and tired of health insurance companies. They're sick and tired of the present system because it is making them non-competitive. The main problem we have in our car industry, in our steel industry, the reason that they are being killed by Japanese companies that are actually building cars in the United States is because of private health insurance. It's a burden on this economy. It's a burden on every single American. And if they want to survive, they had better get smart. They had better stop cherry picking. They had better accept a law that forbids them to cherry pick, because there are small insurance companies that are basically out cheating elderly people and poor people in order to give them any insurance at all, and cherry picking the healthy out and overcharging the, cherry picking out the unhealthy and overcharging the healthy. Those folks have got to be run out of business, and the responsible insurance companies can only survive by a political acceptance of their existence. They can't survive because the Republicans say that any alternative is socialized medicine, because sooner or later business will join with the people who oppose it and abolish private health insurance. It does nobody any good. We can have many different kinds of bureaucracies, and of course S-chip is one of them that seems to be very effective to provide payment to medical care practitioners. They don't have to be forced into work for the government. The medical care can be private, but the system of paying them can be less private. So if insurance wants to stay in business, they bought themselves 11 years of cherry picking, or since 94, 13 years of cherry picking, since what was put down as Hillary Clinton defeated. And to be very honest with you, we have more uninsured people, and business, the old business, the business that has lots of people on retirement, and that are supporting lots of retirees with health care as they get older and older and older and are not allowed to cherry pick. Those businesses are suffering. They're being outpaced by, of all places, the most moribund economic system. And I can tell you that by having lived there in the world. Europe is actually outcompeting us because their companies pay no health insurance at all. Because there is no health insurance, because the government pays for it. They're paying high taxes, but mostly their customers that are paying high taxes, value-added tax, and their employees that are paying high taxes. So their businesses are actually, even though they're terribly inefficient, they have horrible unions, could throw strikes all the time, like in France, but they are actually more competitive than we are because of private health insurance. The private health insurance system is not socialized. Most of these companies are sucking money out of the government through Medicaid, Medicare, and so on and so forth. But for a large portion of the economy, the lower middle class, and a few of the rich, they are just sucking money out, and especially our industries, especially the older industries, they are sucking money out of the economy like it's going out of style, and they're really, really hurting American business. And it's gonna come, and it's gonna be a big problem. Okay, on. I just completely had no intention of talking about that, and I'm glad I did, because I have strong opinions on it, and I'll do more research and talk about that more in the future. But now I'm going to talk about a couple things, and one of them is I have talked about Pakistan before. It was a big issue. Now it is. The ex-prime minister of Pakistan from the party, Pakistan People's Party, that that is the heir of the original founder of Pakistan, Al Jinnah, returned to Pakistan, and sure enough, she got off the plane. She got off the plane down here at the port in Pakistan. It's called Karachi, one of the toughest, meanest, most terrorism-ridden cities in the world, full of Islamic fundamentalists and Talibans, Al-Qaedans, and who knows what else. Caused 200,000 to 1 million. Of course, you know, different sides have different numbers. The lowest estimate is 200,000. The highest estimate is up to 1 million people to come out on the streets to welcome her. Sure enough, there was a suicide bomber that blew up 130 people, killed them. 2 or 3 bombs, it's unclear how many, and tried to assassinate the person who's probably and most likely to head the largest political party in the parliamentary elections that are going to be held in January. Why is this important to us? It's important to us because we are in Afghanistan. Not only we, but Europe, NATO, you name it, are in Afghanistan. The Taliban turned the tide and started winning for a while because the dictator of Pakistan made a deal with the sheikhs who lived along the coast or along the border here, who are the same ethnic group as the Afghans who live in this part of Afghanistan, and who supported the Taliban. So the Taliban got some free and independent, or virtually independent sanctuaries over here in northwest Pakistan, and then started pouring in. Well, that's turned around a little bit because they were started feeling their oats. They started. There's a large madrasa right near the government building in the capital of Pakistan called Islamabad, and they started running around and attacking foreigners, kidnapping foreign women, especially Chinese women, to force them, calling them whores and so on and so forth, to force them into proper dress and forcing them to convert. It was called the Red Mosque. And Musharraf got tired of that. He went into the Red Mosque. In the Red Mosque were hundreds of Taliban fighters, and just killed them all. Basically 200-300 killed. As a result, these border communities revolted. An army was sent in, and 300, somewhere between 200 and 700, there's different figures, Pakistani army people were taken hostage, which means they were captured. POWs, and in this area right here. And then they tried to assassinate Musharraf while he was visiting Kashmir. So what does this mean? Now they've tried to assassinate Musharraf, and they've tried to assassinate his democratic, because for a while Pakistan did have elections. They're the heirs to the same breakup as India, which has always been a democracy. So we have a situation where they've tried to kill both the democratic opposition as well as the dictator of and president of Pakistan. My belief is that Musharraf's honor has now been besmirched by these Islamic militants, and basically he was just elected by the parliament to be president with a deal that he was going to step down as army chief. He's put his best friend in as the new army chief. That'll happen in a couple months, and the Supreme Court of Pakistan has to go along with it, and that's still a question mark, but it probably will happen. And if Bhutto wins the parliamentary elections, they have a deal, and we'll see how that goes. But if they do, Musharraf and Bhutto are going to go right after the Taliban. They're going to lose their sanctuaries, and then, of course, NATO is coming at them from the other direction. So that's a real possibility. The other big story this week in the international world, it's up here in Russia. Here's the new Russia. These are the near abroad. And President Putin went and visited Iran and came up with a proposal to solve the Iranian nuclear crisis. Now, previously, the Russians were very embarrassed because they had offered the Iranians reprocessed nuclear material for a peaceful nuclear power plants for power, reprocessed in Russia so that the Iranians wouldn't have to reprocess it. And the Iranians rejected it because, of course, if they're using Russian nuclear material, they can't make nuclear bombs out of it. So Putin has made some kind of proposal to Iran. We don't know what it is. Of course, Bush and the Europeans want stronger sanctions. After the Iranians had rejected Putin the last time, Putin actually, even though he has a veto in the Security Council, actually supported sanctions. Even though they were pretty mild, they still hurt banks in Iran, and they hurt the middle class. They hurt the ability of the middle class people to get credit. And let's face it, it's these bazaris, these middle class people who have little bitty stands in these open public markets. They were the folks that overthrew the Shah, and even the mullahs fear them. So they're trying to keep them happy. And Ahmadinejad, who Putin met, and Putin actually got to meet Khamenei, the mullah who is the real supreme leader of Iran, the actual real leader, which was very unusual. He usually doesn't meet foreign dignitaries visiting Iran. But he is the real leader of Iran, so we don't know exactly what they talked about or what the proposal was. Whatever it was, it affected or concerned the Prime Minister of Israel so much that the next day the Prime Minister of Israel asked for a visit to Putin and met with Putin. And again, nobody knows what occurred in that particular visit either. So there's a lot going on in the world. We have that. We have another little situation in Bolivia where the Bolivian army actually intervened. Bolivia, as I've said before, is run by a guy named Evo Morales, who is trying to follow his mentor Chavez of Venezuela to becoming a El Presidente para vida, a president for life. And he is being held back by the fact that most of the natural gas and a lot of the tin is produced in provinces that whose governors oppose him. They actually detained a bunch of airliners because the airliners wanted to pay their bribes to the local people and not to the feds, to the government of Bolivia. And they actually raided planes that occurred 2 days ago in the city of Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz is the old capital, or near the old capital. So my name is Reed Silver, and the name of this show is Fed Pride. The reason it's called Fed Pride is because I'm a federal worker and proud of it. Thanks for watching.